Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. It might not be for everybody, but players and DMs, what was your most violent moment in the campaign? So, I'd like to start this story off with some backstory of the characters. First and foremost in the campaign we were in, it was Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, which we eventually changed to a homebrew. This occurred a few months ago when the campaign started. For me and for 3 others, this campaign was our first D&D game ever. The DM decided to have 7 people in the campaign, even though it was built for 3 or 4, if I remember correctly. Most of the people in the story don't really matter except for 4 of us. A human cleric named Caldwin, me, a Scourge ASMR warlock named Ivan, a Goliath fighter named Frank, and finally our nutcracker themselves, a fallen ASMR barbarian named Nightmare. Now for me and Nightmare, this was our first ever time playing D&D, so naturally I go with a lawful neutral alignment, as it seems to be a decent starter alignment. While this fucking madman over here just decides to go chaotic evil. For the first time ever playing D&D, legend! I call him Edgy, they call him a legend. I'm kidding. Now, with the backstory out of the way, let's get into the story. Also, be advised there are minor spoilers for the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. Spoiler warning. In our first session, we're all in the Waterdeep Tavern. A minor fight breaks out between some troublemakers, and we deal with them fairly quickly. It's nothing interesting. Then a troll emerges from the giant sewer entrance in the middle of the tower, and naturally, we all get into attack position. The fight ends up not really going our way, we keep missing the troll, and everyone else isn't doing much damage, etc. That is, until Nightmare gets a perfect idea. I wish to cut off the troll's testicles. You want to what? The party's listening for the DM's response. Okay, roll to hit. How does a 16 do for you? Oh lord, roll for damage. 5. The troll's testicles are sliced off with one swing from your sword. The troll clutches its now empty crotch and begins to whimper. My balls! Next turn. I wish to consume the troll's testicles. Okay, now this may be taking it a bit. No! We need to see how this plays out! Okay, but I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw for illness. We have a nat 20, folks. Oh my fucking god, you take out the troll's testicles from your bag and eat them in one giant gulp. You don't even chew it. The texture is terrible, and they taste awful, but it does scare the troll quite a bit. Now, at this point, everyone's howling with laughter, and soon after we ended the session with the troll's defeat. Fast forward 2 sessions and we're in a sewer looking for a gang hideout. We fart our way through the sewers, past some goblins, and afterwards we capture and interrogate a bandit. Unfortunately, we fail our rolls to tie him up, so he runs away. Nightmare happened to be waiting in the corridor and stabs the bandit in the testicles as he's trying to run past. The bandit crumples over, crying about his testes being stabbed. Not the jewels! And we eventually get him to tell us about his boss and mentions where they are. Afterwards, down a hall, we find a big room with a mind flayer, an orc, and the mind flayer's pet, and they have a hostage that we've been looking for. After talking for a bit, the mind flayer leaves and has his pet and Lieutenant Orc try and stop us, and we defeat the pet pretty quickly. Just have the orc to face. Nightmare, once again in their brilliant mind, decides to befriend the orc and aid him in murdering us. He instructs the orc to shoot a fireball at me, but misses, thankfully. Eventually, we defeat the orc, and now Nightmare has to face a quite pissed-off party. I opted to beat his scrawny ass and be done with it, but everyone else had different plans. This is gonna be good. Hey, this was just a joke. Don't kill me. I'm gonna kill this little bastard.
Yeah, I'm in. How do you want to do that?
Hey, wait, this isn't needed. We already have him beat. Let's just go. Frank and Ivan, however, proceed to ignore me and kick Nightmare over on his back. Frank holds a sword over Nightmare, ready to make the kill.
We don't need to do this. Alright, I'll tell you what, I'll flip a coin. Heads he dies, tails he lives.
The coin shows heads.
Well, seems like today's your unlucky day.
Frank plunges the sword into Nightmare's chest, killing them almost instantly. Now, the reason I was so hesitant on doing this was because 1, Kaldwin was against the murder of unarmed people, and 2, because it was his first time playing and I didn't want it to be over for his first character just like that on the 3rd session. But it turned out to be all good. We all laughed about it, and he made a new, not chaotic evil character, and the campaign is still going with his new character in it. Now, the moral of the story is, don't have a chaotic evil character as your first PC in a good guy campaign, ever, or else Nightmare the Undead Cockslammer will teach you a lesson. To me,
Frank.
Nightmare's player wasn't playing a chaotic evil character, he was playing chaotic dummy character, who deserved what he got. The whole screw around and find out mentality really worked out for him, and those Rocky Mountain oysters probably didn't taste none better. My Furbolg Barbarian went into a combat unarmed, so when he killed the first guy, I asked if I could rip off his arm. If this is turning into a club, I'm going to be so happy. I passed a strength check and then had an arm club for the rest of the combat. Yes! I never held hands with a weapon before, but it was certainly interesting to kill the other minions with their friend's arm. Later, I used a guy's head as a flail by holding it by his long hair, and used another guy's body as a semi-shield after I chopped him in half. Got my axes back at that point. Party Cleric uses shape water to part a small pond like Moses parting the sea. Oh! Our party approaches through this godly partition, and the Cleric uses thaumaturgy to shake the ground and intimidate 2 were-tigers. He yells with a booming voice,
Bow down to your god, or we will smite you down!
Our Warlock uses sickening radiance on their whole frickin' camp, and I use plant growth to make the entire area overgrown. Oh, the were-tigers were probably pissing themselves and trying to escape at this point, but the Cleric uses hold person on both were-tigers. Now they're paralyzed, in brambles, taking sickening radiance and exhaustion, and being attacked by a boar I summoned with conjure animals. The Warlock and I proceed to piss on their bedrolls and campsite while this is going on. Our Cleric drops hold person and decides we are now torturing the were-tigers for information about their leader's location. After no answer, he smashes one of their heads in with a mace, killing one right in front of the other. And Lucille seems to be thirsty today! The fighter then makes 3 or 4 rounds of successful rolls to keep grappling the other one, and we begin scalping him alive with a magic flame sword until he talks. That's going to cauterize the wound, too. Eventually, after being brutally tortured, we tie him up and crucify him on the front of our Triceratops mount by stabbing the horns right through both of his arms. We rode to the nearest city, avoiding his camp with him tied up like that. And we made sure to keep him alive too, just in case he was lying about where the other 14 were-tigers were. Man, you guys are some cruel mothers. Player decided to carry around the dead body of the guard they killed on a spear as an intimidation tactic. Alright, Vlad. They stabbed another guard and ended up with 2 of them on the spear, and then proceeded to throw one of the bodies at the other guard. While the other players were either fleeing the battle or battling to the death, this character skinned and decapitated the body, and then they stripped down to basically bathe in the blood of their enemy. They died pretty soon after by running straight into a horde of guards, completely naked, covered in blood and armed with nothing but a spear and a bloody head. Yep, the way Vlad wanted to go. I was playing a Dragonborn Ranger, and we were facing off against a pirate who had killed a PC in a previous session. Oh, I got the killing blow, and I described that I shot out both of his kneecaps, ran up to him, and very calmly and quietly told him, "Killing him was your first mistake." I pull out the sword of our dead friend. "Killing us was your last." Then I slowly and very deliberately slid the blade through his neck, my eyes locked on his the whole time, until I chose to rip the blade out the side of his neck. "Fuck you, Captain Blackclaw." One of my players was playing a chaotic evil half-orc barbarian with serious rage issues, as you would. He had a lot of extremely violent interactions. His name was Dine, and this moment cemented him into our D&D history. He actually became a reoccurring character in our campaigns, usually as the big bad evil guy. I was running the Sunless Citadel module when the party came across Meepo, this really weak skittish kobold. A quick intimidation roll made Meepo tell the party everything he knew. After the info dump, he asks while shaking, "Is there anything else you want to know?" Dine's player looks me dead in the eyes and says in character,
"Yes. What your insides look like!"
and proceeds to gut Meepo and leave him for dead on the dungeon floor. I kind of feel bad for poor Meepo. I love you, Meepo. We'll see you in the next life. My lizard folk cleric of the grave was sneaking through the water to save some NPCs from a band of trolls who were using them as a sacrifice for a massive dinosaur, the same dino that killed my clan, as the DM informed me. The rest of the party didn't know my character was in the water with the druid. They thought we were waiting for him in other places, and they started to fight the trolls. In the process of saving every NPC, a troll landed near me in the water, so I told the druid, "You got this." Then, I proceeded to swim to the troll, initiating a grapple with my bite, and forced him to stay for the next 4 minutes underwater, drowning him. Also made a barbaric show of how I decorated my pond with the animals the party promised me for my services, and how now it holds several altars of Kelimivore made with chicken and pig bones. That's terrifying and gross. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again, checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, if you have a very violent, bloody, or disgusting moment in a campaign where you just took out your rage on an NPC, or you lost a friend and you cut down a horde of enemies, leave it in the comments below. We really want to know. That said, please, in real life, make sure you take care of yourselves and you do your best to maintain all your anger. And if you ever have any bad problems where your head feels a little bit foggy, cloudy, or otherwise violent, just talk about it. You know, the world's not too bad, and we all love you, and we want you to succeed and be the happiest you can be. So we love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.